The world ended. Didn't you get the memo?
What do you suggest?
You're listening to Dead Air on 89.5 The Wave, KCFB Ferguson.
Think about something else. Puppies and kittens. Dead puppies and kittens.
That is right. You are listening to the one, the only Dead Air here on 89.5 The Wave. I'm your host, your friendly neighborhood DJ, JazzHandss, here to talk about last Sunday's very fun, honestly, like one of my favorite episodes of The Walking Dead, titled Sing Me a Song. It was a very heavy Carl and Negan driven episode, and of course it wouldn't be Dead Air if I wasn't joined with Big Boss Paul.
Hey, what's up?
And we're going to be, like I said, talking about last Sunday's Walking Dead, again titled Sing Me a Song. So spoilers are abound. All right, we got to dive right in, because there was so much to this episode. I feel that a lot of character development within Carl in and of itself. You know?
Yeah, I'd almost argue that there's as much with character development with Negan as there is with Carl.
Yeah.
Because you get to see a lot of things with Negan that you really don't see, and I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there because, screw it, you already mentioned spoiler alerts.
Yeah.
Carl's the only one who's really seen Negan at this point. I think even the Saviors, I think Rick's group, I think everyone who's dealt with him, I think Carl is the only one who's seen Negan as he is. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things that I took from this episode was that Negan is as much an act as Ezekiel is. You know, he says, this is what we're doing, and people seem to follow him. But I think a lot of it is because he is so heavy-handed, and, you know, they fear and sort of respect him.
Granted, Carl is still, you know, he still doesn't like Negan, but do you think there's a possibility that he could respect Negan a little bit more after this episode?
I think maybe there would be some respect, but I also think he understands Negan a lot more. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that I think Negan may be underestimating Carl, and it may be at his own peril, but I think Carl really learns a lot. I think he notices a lot. I don't think he lets on that he notices a lot of this. And Negan, as I said at the very beginning, Carl is the only one Negan's really, really opened up to.
Yeah.
Carl's seen beneath the surface. Carl knows Negan's not a completely horrible guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, he is, but he is because he has to be. Mm-hmm. And partially, I think, because he wants to be.
Yeah.
But Negan was one of those at the right place, at the right time, with the right attitude and the right opportunity.
Do you think when Carl was going in, do you think he knew, or do you think he had a plan out, or do you think he was like, this is going to be a suicide mission? I know I'm probably going to die.
Oh, no, I absolutely think Carl was like, I'm a dead man. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get killed. Mm-hmm. There's just no doubt about it. I am going to die.
I mean, but then it's so weird because, and I believe somebody on Talking Dead said it perfectly, a lot of people in this episode had kind of, for lack of a better term, you know, half-assed plans to try to kill Negan. It was, take me to Negan, or I just want Negan, and it's like, no, and that's where I feel, granted, they're resisting, you know, you can respect somebody that's resisting, but it's also like, the odds are clearly against you.
Yeah, and I was the one that really shocked me the most. I can see Carl jumping off and deciding he was going to go for the kill shot on Negan. The one that shocked me the most was Michonne. I know she's really starting to lose it. I know she does not like being under Negan's thumb, but I can't see her deciding, okay, I'm going to one-woman it, and I'm going to take him out.
Yeah.
I could see her saying, you know what, I need to go to Hilltop. I need to talk to some of the people there. I need to, you know, once she finds out about the kingdom, okay, I need to talk with people there. We need to get a plan together to kill this guy. I'm not sure what, other than just sheer desperation, drove Michonne to say, I'm going slaughter a bunch of walkers, pile them up in the road, and when one of Negan's people stops, I'm going to try and, threaten them into taking me to Negan.
And the only other thing is, because I agree with you, it's like, well, why would you do this? And granted, she wants to protect the people she loves. She loves Rick, she loves Carl, she loves them to death.
Oh, yeah.
They're the first people that, that bought her back and taught her, you can love, you can do this again.
And the rest of the Alexandrians.
Yeah. And so she it's clear that she's doing it out of love, but it's also, a lot of them just seem to be very suicidal missions,
Carl's I understood.
Mm-hmm.
Because Carl was to the point where I think he'd already noticed that Negan has taken a little bit of a shine to him.
Mm-hmm.
Because Carl has threatened Negan now. This was the second time.
Yeah.
And nothing has happened. Now think about that. The only price Negan makes Carl pay is take off your bandage, let me see that gaping eye wound.
Yeah.
And sing me a song. He killed 2 of Rick's people for killing his men.
Yeah.
Normally, it's a body for a body.
Yeah.
And there may still be that price to pay. I don't know. Can I ask one question of you?
Yeah.
What do you think of all these damn 90-minute episodes outside of the opening and the half finale?
For one, they're nice because, we get more content and more Walking Dead's, more Walking Dead. It makes this job a little bit more harder to analyze and review everything. But, as a whole, we're getting into the nitty gritty. And it's telling a story and they're 90 minutes. Because I know what you're talking about. I didn't know last night. I didn't know this Sunday's episode, was going to be a 90-minuter.
Yeah. I didn't know until I looked on the DVR and went, oh, this goes to 9:30. Oh, yay, 90 minutes.
It's almost to the point where if they keep doing it, if they keep having these 90-minute episodes and these really good nitty-gritty episodes, I would almost say just bump the series from an hour to 90 minutes.
Either that or go to 10-episode half seasons, 20-episode seasons.
Before we kind of really move on from Carl and Negan, I gotta ask you, what were your thoughts on the Iron? Do you think it's a fitting punishment for people who either go up against Negan or somebody that goes up against Negan?
Do I think it's fitting? No. Do I think Negan feels that it's fitting and with what he wants to do? Yes, absolutely. I think it is perfectly appropriate for what Negan wants to happen.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of one of those things where, again, it's that whole mental manipulation thing where, I guess physical too, because he burnt you, and so now whenever somebody looks at that person, it's because of them.
Well, not only that, but the rest of them see, okay, this is what happens when you cross him.
But do you think it could be possible that Daryl might get the Iron at some point, maybe on the opposite side of his face with Dwight's, kind of matching, like they're two sides of the same coin.
It would be really interesting from a symbolism standpoint, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think Daryl's going to get out, and I don't think he's ever coming back.
Yeah, who do you think gave Daryl the key?
I want to say it's either Dwight or Sherry.
Thank you. Okay.
It's either got to be Dwight or Sherry, and I'm almost leaning towards Sherry because she's tried talking Daryl into, look, you need to go, you need to get out of here, or you need to just play along for now before. And I think if anybody was going to do it, it's either Sherry or Dwight because he saw what happened to Mark. And he knows what happened to him, and he knows Negan's crazy.
Well, there's that, and there's also the fact that when when Carl first showed up, Negan's like, "Oh man, I'm not going to get to screw any of my wives."
Well, maybe one.
Yeah, maybe one, and it was clearly a dig towards Dwight.
Oh, it was a big. It wasn't a dig, dude. That was a knife twist.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's where I think I think it was Dwight because, granted, you saw at the end when Daryl saw Jesus on top of the truck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm sure everybody was thinking it was Jesus, but I'm really thinking, like you, it was Dwight. I think it was Dwight. I think Dwight throughout this series, throughout the season, if you've been watching, he's been doing smaller and smaller and smaller stuff that it hasn't been a grand big ploy against Negan. He's still, and he'll put up the act like there's no tomorrow. I am Negan's, right-hand man. I will do what needs to be done. I'll kill, but he's doing small stuff that goes against it and planting the seeds of revenge in them. He did it with Daryl, where he was like, you need to move on with the Glenn death and stuff, because how are you going to be strong and fight this guy if you're still hooked up on that? This happened, get over it, move on. Sounds harsh, but yeah. And then with even Rosita, when he's like, we just came in and took all your guns. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? That's digging the knife in a little bit deeper and being like, well, what are you really going to do? So I think he's making his plays. He's making his plays, and I think we're going to get a coup inside the Saviors. Maybe not at the midseason, but probably
I don't think we're going to get the midseason.
Season finale, we're going to all of a sudden realize we have enough forces to take on Negan. People on the inside want to take on Negan, and I think we're going to. It's gearing up to all-out war. To kind of switch gears now a little bit, Spencer.
Spencer's a jerk.
We gotta talk. Okay. Look,
dude, I don't like Spencer.
For me, honestly, because do you think he has a right to be mad at Rick? Do you think he has a right to hate Rick the way he does? Because honestly, Spencer may be a jerk, and he's not my favorite character, but I can see why he doesn't like Rick. And honestly, I feel that even when people say, well, Rick didn't know this was going to happen, Rick didn't know this was going to happen, you pick a fight with somebody, you need to expect the worst. And it is almost a result of Rick needs to take more responsibility for it.
This was a dumb move on Rick's part, but Deanna handed it over to Rick because she had confidence in Rick. It wasn't, Rick took. And that's the thing that gets me with Spencer, is Spencer seems to have this attitude of, well, my mom should be in charge. She should still be alive. But Rick took over from her. And it's like, no, Deanna actually pretty much said, I tried doing things my way. I let things slide. You're right. You need to kill Pete. And I'm listening to you a lot more now. Mm-hmm. And Deanna was not an ineffective leader. I think she was a good leader.
Oh, she was amazing, yeah.
But she didn't die because of Rick. Mm-hmm. She died during the wolf attack.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because of something that Rick did.
Yeah, because without Rick,
they would have never gotten through the wolves.
Yeah, they would have never gotten through the wolves. They would have never gotten through the Walker Horde. Rick's kind of the one that rallied them all together, yeah. And don't get me wrong, Rick, as much as I do gripe about Rick making this very horrible one decision that's now going to cost them quite a lot with the upcoming episodes, the upcoming seasons, he is doing the best he can.
Not only that, but let's face it, it was only a matter of time.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a nice civilization. Negan would have found them sooner or later.
But I kind of want to get back to more Spencer. And do you think that there's a possibility that Spencer actually got to Gabriel a little bit? Because realistically, like I said, granted, Spencer, he's being a jerk about it. But what he's saying isn't necessarily untrue. Rick did get to Gabriel by bullying him. And Gabriel, I think there's a part of me that when Gabriel goes off just a little bit on Spencer, it isn't because he's mad that he's talking about Rick. I think he might have been throwing the truth at Gabriel just a little bit, and Gabriel's like, I don't want to hear it. I like living in this world that I'm living in now.
No. I don't see it that way at all. I think it's pretty much Gabriel hears Spencer kind of being a little sour grapes and that my mom's not in charge anymore. Mm-hmm. Gabriel looked at him and said, basically, you're a humongous turd. Mm-hmm. And then looked and said, you know what, rather than ride with you, because I know you've probably got a couple of secret caches out here in the woods, and ended up he did have a couple of things that he had set aside for a rainy day, so to speak, and then he ended up finding some others. You know, the guy in the deer stand with the bow.
Yeah, I know that he found that, but I don't know what you're talking about, his other stash.
Well, Gabriel said you've probably got some, stash of food and weapons and whatnot out here. And Spencer looked like he was walking pretty definitively towards a target. Uh-huh. So I have a feeling he probably knew that guy was up there and knew that there was a weapon up there. And, okay, well, if everything, anything ever goes to hell, I can always come here and I can get this.
Uh-huh.
I think we kind of got a little foreshadow of this when Rosita was asking Tara in last episode, Swear, do you know of any place that has a large number of guns and ammo?
But speaking of Rosita that you brought up,
mm-hmm.
I cannot hate a character more.
Really?
I hate Rosita.
I like Rosita
so much.
Granted, she was kind of a jerk to Eugene, but
she has no plan. She has no backside. She's whiny, and I hate Rosita. She has
no backside?
She has no backbone or
backbone. Okay,
backbone.
She has a backside.
She's sitting in there saying that, like, okay, I'm gonna go kill Negan. I got this one bullet, and Eugene was right. Well, what's gonna happen if you're gonna miss and it's gonna ricochet and you wasted your bullet? And granted, you got Carl and you have Michonne, who those two, I hate to say, are more capable. They're not going to do it. They're not going to kill Negan, but they were more capable of doing it. Rosita has no plan. She's pretty much going on anger alone. And it's this whole Andrea and Beth thing where I feel that she's trying to prove herself, and I hate it. I hate Rosita.
That was a huge theme of this episode, though, was everybody hates Negan. Mm-hmm. Just replace Chris. Everybody hates Negan. Mm-hmm. But it was all these different people coming up with the same plan. One person, one strike, kill Negan.
No, yeah, and that's what I think made me so mad about what Rosita did was Abraham. Essentially, even though Abraham and Eugene butt heads, Abraham built up his confidence.
Yeah.
Abraham helped build up his confidence, and in one move, Rosita kind of pushed it back down.
But Abraham also tore him down right before he built that up.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. In a roundabout way, I think Eugene gave up on the idea of making bullets when Abraham died.
Yeah.
And I think Rosita kicked him in the pants enough to get him to say, okay, fine, I'll make you one. And once he's made one, he realizes, I can do this. Mm. It's a janky-looking bullet.
For me, Rosita, I hate it. I hate her. I hated her. She's just if she dies, I don't care. And I hate to say that, but
yeah, it's a horrible sound, but
she's bringing nothing to the table, except her attitude. And that's always never fun in the apocalypse.
Yeah.
But predictions for next episode, for the next 90-minute mid-season finale.
I think Daryl's going to get out. Mm-hmm. Whether or not he makes it to the kingdom, I don't know. But I have a feeling that we're going to see somehow the kingdom's going to hook up with one of the other cities in this next episode. Mm-hmm. They're either going to hook up with Hilltop or they're going to hook up with Alexandria. Mm-hmm. And there's definitely a method to do either one of the two. I have a feeling either Gregory's going to die if they do go to Hilltop, or Gregory's basically just going to be outcast, and Maggie's going to assume complete and total leadership.
Yeah,
I think it's going to flat out happen.
Yeah, I think for All Out War to happen, Maggie needs to become leader of Hilltop.
Oh yeah, and it's already happening.
Yeah, my predictions. I agree. I think Daryl is possibly going to get out. I think we're finally going to get either the civilizations coming together, or at least a hint of it. And we saw Rick standing there crying. I could possibly see us getting another major death. Very well, maybe it could be Rick just tearing up because Negan was holding Judith. He gets back at the wrong time. It could be, maybe
Michonne.
maybe Michonne, maybe Daryl, maybe, Negan's like, yeah, your kid did this. I'm still a little upset about that. I told him it was fine, but I'm not mad at Carl. I'm mad at you for not watching your kid. So I'm going to have to kill another person. But I think we could possibly be getting another major death coming up, or
maybe they'll kill Spencer. Oh.
Well, I could see Spencer too. We got a lot of stuff still coming up. I'm very, very excited for the mid-season finale, and it sucks that we're already here.
Yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah, it totally sucks. But thanks, everybody. It's been a blast, and I'll see you all next week.